Good afternoon. When we were here last, I told the people of Jacksonville that this is why we're here, this is what we do. All the public safety workers, police, fire, public works, utilities, and I've seen just that since then. Not only are they stepping up, neighbors and friends are stepping up. I've been out and about today as the flooding has happened and the tides have been rising, and witnessed firsthand rescue efforts happening by our professionals and neighbors helping neighbors. This is, as I said before, a rare event, isolated, high-risk event, magnitude we've not seen in nearly 150 years with the flood risk. To be clear, this is not a one-day event. This is probably a week-long event. We're going to have to see on a day-to-day basis. This morning I said if you are in those A, B, low-lying areas on the river by specific neighborhoods, that you needed to go to a second floor, or preferably we needed to get you out of there. And I asked you to call 630-CITY if you needed us, 911 if it was an emergency, but to put a white flag or something that represents that could be viewed from outside your home to come get you. If you were on a second floor today and you watched your neighbors be rescued, but you decided you were going to wait this out because you think the floodwaters are going to recede, they're not going to recede today, maybe not tomorrow, maybe not the next day. So we want to get you out of there. We have capacity in shelters. Call 630-CITY and let us know. Major power outages, 250,000 customers out at this point. And as I said earlier, this is a strain all over the entire state. Most of the state of Florida is without power. So manpower will be strained, but our professionals will bust their butts to get your power back on. Generators. Reminder, please do not use generators in your garage or in your house. The fumes can kill you and you won't know it. You won't be able to smell them. Malfunctioning traffic lights are like a four-way stop. The sheriff will talk in a few moments about safety and traffic, but the two of us are working with the beach's mayors to assess the situation, ensure that it's safe, and do everything we can to open the bridges and get people back home. We know you want to get back to your homes. We're working aggressively to do it in a safe, orderly manner. I've been in communication all day with the governor, and the resources have also been provided for search and rescue. I just spoke a few moments ago with Senator Rubio, and he is working to ensure that we continue to have adequate supply resources for our shelters. To be clear, we will be moving to a recovery stage soon, but we are in a rescue stage at this point. People need to be safe, and we need to protect lives. And with that, I'll turn it over to Angie with the National Weather Service for a weather briefing, and then the sheriff, and then we'll take questions.
Thank you, sir. Hey, good afternoon. My name's Angie Agnetti. I'm your meteorologist from the National Weather Service. So before we talk about this epic river flooding that we're seeing, we'll just kind of touch on the winds. This afternoon, our sustained winds have come down. They're anywhere from 20 to 30 miles an hour now, with gusts up to 50. So we are starting to drop below that sustained tropical storm force wind that we've been seeing for 12 to 18 hours across parts of our area. Irma has definitely left her mark on the city, and it's widespread wind damage in terms of power outage, like the mayor said, but at this time, very noticeably, is the flooding issue that we have going on along the St. Johns River and its tributaries, including parts of the Trout River, getting in parts of the Ortega River as well. And this, as again, Mayor Curry said, this is going to be a long-lived flooding event. So what we're anticipating, we have crested at our high tide this afternoon at the Main Street Bridge. There's some other tributaries of the St. Johns, including Ortega, that will be coming up to their high tide in an hour or so. So there will be additional river rises of some of the tributaries. But in the main part of downtown, between the Buckman and the Main Street area here, we've reached our maximum value of what we anticipate to be the crest, and we will see a slow fall as we get into the evening hours. And the reason it will be slow is because we still have a good south wind pushing this river up into the downtown area. So maybe a water recession of about a foot over the next several hours, not significant by any means. As the mayor said earlier, we'll have a high tide tonight. That water is going to creep back on up, not as high as what we saw today. So there's going to be a gradual rise and fall, kind of like a slosh motion, if you will, within the river over the next several days as this water gradually tries to dampen and funnel back out to the ocean. So it's going to be a long-lived flooding type of event. So please continue to heed the advice of these men and women here, your emergency response team that are working hard for you.
Sheriff.
So just a couple quick things in terms of safety. As we mentioned before, lots of standing water, lots of flooding. Do not drive your car through that standing water. Lots of dangers there, to include down power lines. We're still in a damage assessment phase, especially even at the beaches. So a lot of work left to do. All that being said, the bridges that are closed now, the Hart Bridge, the Main Street Bridge, all the bridge closures are due to flooding. So you'll be able to see that when you pull up to the bridge. And somebody will be there, obviously, to block that access to the bridge. No bridges are closed due to wind. And obviously the 4 ICW bridges are closed because we're doing damage assessments at the beach. As soon as those are done, we do not have a timetable on when that will be. We will talk about communicating to everybody that the time that those will be open. But as of now, we do not have a time. We are still working on, again, just beginning the early stages, early hours of damage assessment from the storm. So all that being said, as I mentioned earlier, do not stack up beach residents who are wanting to get back to the beach. Please don't stack up on Beach Boulevard, Atlantic Boulevard, JTB. You're blocking emergency vehicles that need to travel. Just wait until you get the word and then head back to the beach. We've had some reports of looting, or excuse me, rumors of looting. We've had some burglaries, but not widespread looting. So again, we're monitoring all of that. And if you have a medical emergency, do not use social media to ask for help on a medical emergency. Call 911. All the regular emergency services are in place and are up and running and accepting calls and responding to calls. So if you have an emergency that you would normally think to call 911 on, do it now. Nothing has changed with that. So, and again, just be safe. Thanks.
Questions?
On the bridge closures, should people, I mean, I know you're not going to give an exact time, but I mean, people, when they go to sleep tonight, should they think maybe there's a chance they'll be able to get back over tomorrow?
Working very aggressively.
Okay.
We've got an aggressive plan that's safe and orderly.
Sheriff Williams, you mentioned some reports of burglaries. Have those mostly been residential burglaries or business burglaries?
Just a combination of both, but nothing in terms of clusters, nothing unusual, honestly, in terms of volume. But it was described as looting, and that's not the case. So everybody's been very patient, very orderly, very cooperative, and we would encourage everybody to continue to do that.
On the search and rescue operations, I mean, I think, Mayor, you had posted a video. I heard someone say something about they plucked 100 people out of a neighborhood or something. I mean, are those the kinds of numbers we're talking about here?
I mean, you did hear right on the video asking one of our best from JFRD said that in that area they had done about 100 just within one roadway. So that was. And we saw similar efforts happening in Riverside, and I'm sure they're happening in other parts of the city as well.
Do you have any estimate as to what the total number is? I know earlier, in your earlier briefing, you said there were 6 calls in 8 hours. Do you have any updated numbers?
We don't have a specific of the actual, we don't. But I can tell you that the men and women on the rescue efforts they're working hard, and they're getting it done.
Mayor, a question about JEA. Obviously, there's a lot of cut and toss to do. Obviously, power restoration is going slowly. When the cut and toss is largely done, are we going to see numbers move in the restoration, or is this going to be a slower process than last year?
Paul, is Paul here? Yeah.
Well, the first step in the process is storm assessment. We're doing that now with all of our resources. Cut and toss, we're teaming with the city. We're in the ERAT process as well. So even if we had clear access at the moment, the winds are just tipping over to below sustained 40 miles an hour. And that gives us the opportunity to take advantage of the next 4 or 5 hours of daylight to get folks up in bucket trucks and work with restoration. So we have 500 people that are either vegetation management or line workers actively working on restoration, and they're going to work 16 hours a day until the job's done.
Any update on school closures? How many people are without power right now?
250,000.
6.3 in the state.
Any update on school closures?
I don't think we have not been given an update from the superintendent at this point. So what's today?
Monday.
Today's Monday, closed tomorrow, and we will we'll get that information, that decision made, so people and families can plan accordingly.
When you said this was something on the magnitude of something we haven't seen in like 150 years, can you just unpack that a little bit?
Sure. We have, just to be concise, we have Cat 3 storm surge in a tropical storm. Is that right, Angie?
That's correct.
Cat 3 surge in tropical storm conditions. Serious stuff. Which is why we gave people plenty of time with first volunteer evacs, then mandatory evacs, and now here we are. And we want to make sure you're safe. So let us know so we can come get you and get you to a shelter. And if you can get out safely, get out and get to a shelter.
I have a question for Mr. McElroy. I know last year, Mandarin was a very hard-hit area that was without power for longer than a lot of other areas. Do you have any indication at this point which areas in town can expect to see the longest power outages based on the damage you've seen?
We are doing our preliminary assessment right now. We have over 100 folks just doing the assessment. Later today, if winds can get sustained below 20 or at first daylight, we will have a helicopter that we brought in to identify those major tree canopy areas, and then we'll bring in drone support to get more precision in those areas. So we'll have better information after we get full assessment.
All right. Anything else? Okay, we'll continue to give updates as things develop. And to the people of Jacksonville, keep praying, keep working. Take care of each other.